elements, okay, such as the selection of the heading, okay, the tone and the length in MLA, or the Modern Language Association, which is the one that we are not following, okay, that belongs to another side of the earth. Okay, ours is APA. They have a different styles, as I say it, because names are always at the upper part and including the name of the professors. Okay, so it's totally different in our style. So the APA, again, the styles include the punctuation and the abbreviations. Okay, there are techniques. Okay, like before, if you read old books, you can read in the footnote the loksit of sit sopra in infra. Okay, I don't know if you've heard or read of that. Okay, we are used to that in our time. Okay, like supra meaning up. If there's the book that you cite and then you're going to cite it again, you have to put there, instead of that book, you can only write the title of the book, the word ibid, ibid, okay, meaning the same, and then you put the page p, and if there are several pages that you cite, you have to put pp, or pages. Okay, P period and then the page number. So if there are several pages, you have to put PP and then a hyphen, like 1, 2, 3. Do not put PP and you only have one page that you cite. Okay, so that is a technical writing concern. But if possible, you have to read to deepen your knowledge in writing. Okay, so okay, that was before. Okay, we are encouraged to use the Latin word, okay, like I bid, okay, or meaning the same. And then some, if you still quote the same book, instead of I bid, you have to put id, okay, id, okay, but that's an old book. Okay, in our time, we have to cite still the name of the title of the book and the year of the publication. Okay, so it's easier now because sometimes we use the inline, okay, or in text citation, meaning it's already in the text that you can read the reference number, the title of the book and the year of publication. Or if the title, if the same author has several books, then you can perhaps write the book and then the year of publication. Okay, so but now most of the citations are in articles, so it's easier. Okay, because most of the articles, when you cite, the citation number, complete citation is already given. Okay, I tried that when I quote some articles in one of the journals. They already provide me with a complete citation, the page number including the DOI. Okay, I think I was lost again. Okay, so now that includes again the construction of tables, okay, the presentation of the numbers and the statistics. Okay, so that in total is called the APA style. Okay, now APA style refers to both. Are you still there?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Both the physical appearance of your paper, okay, the type size. In our case, you can use the word, it can use Arial, okay, in some font, I mean the font. In some authors would, some author's guide would require Times New Roman, but in our case, you can actually use Arial, okay, Arial 10. But I'm not so particular because that would really differ. In fact, in my case, when I publish an article, I keep on changing the style. Why? Because you cannot publish a journal unless you comply with the author's guide and you follow the author's guide. And sometimes they would say, oh, your font is like this, and then it should not be more than 8 to 13 pages only. Then if I prepare the paper already 15 pages, I have to cut and delete some of the paragraph that are not needed. Okay, can you imagine? You already have it, but every now and then when there is an article that calls for paper, okay, I join groups, okay, that will call for a paper because it's the publication may be free. Okay, so they require some they had a different author's guide, but most of the guide that I observe is they follow APA. They require an APA style. Okay, so it would be an advantage if your format is already an APA style. Okay, sometimes they had most of the time when it's already publishable, it's only single space. But in our case, if this is just a thesis paper, it's not yet publishable. Okay, it's double space so that the professor can also make some annotations and easy for them to write to read. Now, so the physical appearance of your papers is just a short paper. Okay, it's different from other kind of paper. Okay, you know, sizes of paper are, they always had a purpose. Okay, so in our case it's just 8 by 8.5, 8 and 1 by 11, and then up maybe 1, down maybe 0.5, right maybe 0.5, left maybe higher 1.5 or 2. These are exact format, but the purpose of left being higher than the rest is when you bookbind, okay, so that there's still space for to insert the for cutting, okay, to trim it, okay. Otherwise, if there's no space, the first line or the first left words may not be read. So that is the purpose. Okay. So now, and the way you cite your sources, both in text and in your bibliography. So this is this is the thing that would really differ from other style, because the in-text or say in-text and in bibliography, and the common thing that you should not forget is that when you write a bibliography, it must be arranged alphabetically. Okay, first is the family name. Okay, and after family name, you have to make an indentation 1 inch, and then after 1 inch, you write all the information. So it would be difficult because your indentation may be different. But you know, there are maybe variations. In our time, it's so difficult because when you tab, all of the words will also move. Okay, but but the first line should be indented, should be at the utmost left. But the second line should be at 1 inch from the left. So it would be difficult. Now, you will collect the same information, okay, you would for an MLA style bibliography, author, okay, this is the style of the line, author, the title of the book, okay. Now here, take note, the author, it's not the family name that will come first. Take note, many mistakes of the student. The author's family name will only come if it's already in the bibliography. But in your in-text citation, you can first name and then family name, or you can simply write the family name. But when you write the full name in the bibliography, the family name of the author will come first. So meaning all of the authors will be arranged alphabetically. Now, do not include an author or the book if it is not found in any aforementioned or or before bibliography pages before that. If it's not found in that, do not put that author or book in your bibliography. Some students would make it sure that it's pleasant and convincing if they have books and articles cited, or articles or a big number of books in the bibliography. but most of it, if you dissect it, some are not even cited in any pages of the paper. Okay, so that should be deleted. So all of those books that you quoted must also appear in the bibliography. So first things first, when you read an article, do not forget the citation. Otherwise, if you forget the page number, you find it difficult to retrieve anymore, because you have to put there the retrieve date, okay, in your bibliography. Okay, some would indicate access date or retrieve from, including the date. Why? Because that article may not be found later on in um, list of those journals. I forgot the Reuters, Thomson Reuters, and then there's another one. Um, the list of those articles. If you're if the article, the article should maintain, okay, and have to pay an annual fee for them to be in the list. Okay, I forgot what they call it. The list of all the journals known as karang famous na. If the article is not there, okay, because it's not all the time or it's not forever that it will be in the journal, okay, in that list, because they have to maintain, okay, if the journal cannot pay them yearly, or it doesn't publish an article or a book in a year, then it may be credited lower. So sometimes that journal may not be included anymore in the list. Okay. So you have to include there the retrieve date. Okay. So you will collect the same information as you would from MLA. Okay, the author, the title of the journal, the date, etc. What are those, etc.? The pages. Okay. So if you quote in a book in the library, it's easy because you can find that title of the book in the title page. Okay, and you can also find the date of publication. Okay, so you put there the date of publication. Okay, and then the publisher, normally it's Random House. Okay, most of the books are published in Random House or New York, and the place of publication is New York. Okay, and then you put their pages where you get that. But right now, I would say that it may not be true anymore. Although it's still applicable, you can write, but books in publishing books, it would be difficult if you will not cite an article in a journal that is already published. Okay, that is why it's for your paper to be publishable, for it to be accepted in a journal, you have to cite articles in a journal. Okay, because it's actually a point in the journal if you cite their journal. Okay, that's why it's not a promotion of what I wrote. It would be good if you cite our articles, because that will also level up the standing of our school. Okay, schools right now are rated on the number of publications and the and the citations they had in the Google Scholar. Okay, so one criteria of evaluating a school is the publication of the professors and the citations. Okay, if that article written by a professor is quoted and that quotation was also published, it will appear in our in in the standing of CNU or the score of CNU. I don't know if you have seen the score of CNU in ResearchGate. Have you tried um, trying to I mean joining the ResearchGate? You better join, para you can see their articles they publish. So in our case, again, I would like to um, if there are articles that I wrote and it's maybe relevant or it's just a single line that I wrote can be applicable to your research, you can quote that, okay? Because that will also um, level up the number of citations in the university. Now, okay. So remember that many of the library's databases will provide an APA citation that you can cut and paste. Now, because books, as they say, the library will soon become a museum. Books in the library are now in the internet. In fact, books now are published in the internet. Okay, all you have to do is sometimes to buy it in Amazon or there are many. I tried to sell one, but I don't want to become rich. you know, I just try to. I have seen many books actually. It's published in the Amazon. Now it's sold in the Amazon. You can buy it. Okay. So before it's all free, but now you have to pay. Now, what does citing mean? Okay. What do you mean by cite? Okay. When I say cite, meaning if the words is not really yours, just got it from somewhere, you have to put that name of who said that. Otherwise, it would be as theft. It would be stealing of intellectual property, and it would be unfair, or it even worse if you misquote them. Then you might say, according to him, and you write the exact opposite of what he said. Okay, can you imagine? It's a crime. Aside from his name will be put in a bad light, and he will be entitled to damages. Okay, so if you quote him, make sure that it's a real quotation. It's what he really said. Okay, or it may be an honest interpretation of what he said, which can be an excuse. So what I mean is that if it's not purely yours, okay, because most of what we said right now, according to them, it's already said a long time ago. It's now in the books. So you better source out, okay, and look for that person who said that, okay, and put that word into your bibliography. Put that person into your bibliography. Okay, so you can say according to him, according to Aristotle, that man is a political animal. Okay, you have to cite that. But if it's a common understanding, now you don't need a quoting it. Like if everyone's knowledge it's already acceptable, there's no need of citing that person. Now, if it's too long, okay, you can actually quote it, but you have to make an indentation. Okay, so if it's just a one line, all you have to do is you don't have to change the line spacing. Okay, meaning you can just simply put it in a double space and then continue according to him, and then put an open, okay, like this. Okay, can in text, and see that in text before in there's a two quotation, two lines, open and close quotation. Okay, so if it's only one sentence, but if it's too long, like three sentences, all you have to do is put the open quotation at first and make an indentation. maybe 1 inch from the regular or normal indentation in the left and in the right as well. Okay. Now, if you quote it directly, meaning you did not change any word, or if you change the word like the first letter, all you have to do is to put in a bracket. For example, okay, I know you're reading this one, the citation index, the, like for example, the. But when you put that, when you quote that one, you put it in a sentence where the T is it's now small letter. All you have to do is put it in a small bracket. I don't know if you've seen that word. Okay, I even wonder why is it that that single word was put in a bracket, because when they quote it originally that it's big letter or capital letter, but since you change it to make it um, uniform in make it in a sentence like this, a word before the, all you have to do is to make it smaller. So since you change the word for word to make it acceptable in a to the reader, you put that in a bracket. Okay, because originally it's bigger but now you want it smaller, and then put another a close quotation at the end. So that's the how are you going to do when you quote a long sentence or 3 sentences or a paragraph. But do not quote the whole, let us say 10 paragraphs. That's too much. Only one or two or three. If it's one, maybe don't need of putting it in a separate paragraph and changing the spacing into single space. Okay, normally when you quote, it must be single space. Okay, or ordinarily it should be double space, but when you quote and put it in a indented line, because you just quote it from a word for word or verbatim citation from a certain author, all you have to do is to dissect. Okay, or do not you copy word for word, but you have to um, put it in an indented, and the indentation must be different or smaller than the normal font, the normal writing. Now, when you quote that, you have to, instead of putting a footnote here and a number, and then when you click that number there, it also represents the footnote in the bottom, right? Okay, if you click the footnote, diba, normally when you read books, there are numbers. Okay, that is if it's footnotes, because there are authors who also use endnotes. Endnote meaning at the end of the chapter there are actually notes. It's equivalent to footnote, but instead of putting it below the page, you did put all of it only at the end of the writings. That's called endnotes. Okay. So in our case, we do not use footnote or endnotes, but I'm just giving you an idea of how it's done before and the present way of writing it. Okay, you know, writing sometimes it really evolves. Okay, and right now this is now a trend. No, we continually evolve, and right now we have to put the DOI before. It's not important, but now you have to really include the DOI. But for some journals, they already include it in the when you cite an item, okay, a certain article. If you read a certain article, they also provide you with certain reference. Okay, and that reference is already complete, including the DOI. Now, the separate reference page where you will list complete information about each of those sources, which comes at the end of your paper. Okay, so here there's no need of putting a footnote. All you have to do is, instead of inserting number here, you just make a close parenthesis, open parenthesis, and then write the author, the book, and the page, or simply the author and the page, and the year of publication. Okay, but if there are many pages, you can include the page to make the reader easier where you get that information. Now we go to the citation. Okay, so what do you mean by in-text citation? Okay, so meaning you include the name of the person who said. Okay, so it's really important because to make your paper really scientific, meaning you cannot just say something without without basis. Anything that you say, there must always be with similar in court. No, you cannot just simply quote a text without any reference, without any basis. There must be a basis of saying that, otherwise it's purely hearsay and nobody will believe in you. So in our case, it's also similar. Anything that you say must be substantiated with authority. That authority is the author. Now, so the first, you introduce a source with the body of your paper. Okay, it is generally preferred that you use signal praise. Okay, what are those signal praise? Accordingly, according to him, state that. Okay, so signals on your reader that materials to follow that comes from someone's other than yourself. Okay, signal phrases, examples of according to. Okay, in this case, according to Jones, after that signal phrase, list the year of publication in a parenthesis. Okay, so according to him, okay, you don't need of writing the book, but that book was published in 1998. Now, what if that author has so many publications in that year? In that case, you have to cite the book. Otherwise, the readers may be confused as to which of this book that he published in the year 1998. Okay. So if that name is cited many times, then you can include the page. Now, in this case, according to Jones, in his book, we do not know, but it was published 1998. So you search his books published 1998. This is what he said. Students, according to him, meaning you quote that directly, did not change anything. Why? Because you use open and close quotation. Okay, open quotation. Students often had the difficulty using APA style, especially when it was their first time. Then close quotation. So you can find that in the book published by Jones in 1998 on page 119. See? Why P only? Because there's only one page number. If there are two pages, like if it's found in 1999 to 1199 to 200, what I'm going to put here? PP, meaning pages. Now, if you do not use a single phrase, okay, then you would put the author's last name along with the year of publication and page number preceded by the word P or PP in parentheses after the quote, for example. Okay, so that's this. If you do not use signal phrase, what's that? Use a signal phrase according to him. If you don't have to put that according to Jones, all you have to do is to simply write that. No need of signal praise. Students' difficulty in using APA style, especially when it's the first time. That is found in Jones, published in 1998, page 199. Okay, so this is one way of, if you are not going to use the signal word. It's just similar actually. Okay, but you know, you are if you are reading, if you are writing it, and then if you want to connect it, do not just simply use this one. Okay, because if I am the reader, I would say, he did not, he keeps on inserting, because this is the weakness of the student, we keep on quoting, and we cannot even connect. Okay, we cannot even connect the one paragraph to the other, because what we did is we simply use this one, the second. We had a quotation, and with my signal is, the camera is off.